Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Michael from EmbodyTheState.com, as you already may know. And in this video, we're going to be covering three main topics that are going to help you put everything together so you can maneuver in your 3D and not be afraid of your circumstances, things changing for the worse, or just anything you see in general. And those three topics are going to be self-worth and who you are, because if you don't know who you are, then you are going to have a hard time feeling loved, believing that you're worthy, believing that you're abundant, and understanding why it's okay to feel certain ways regardless of what you're saying. The other topic is going to be consciousness and the importance of where you're placing it, right? And how consciousness is pretty much our only reality that we should be focusing on. It's the one and true reality, our imagination, right? And the third thing is going to be logic and manifesting, how they go hand in hand, and some things I see that people don't apply, and how being illogical can kind of lead you down the wrong path where you don't even see that you're making these mistakes time and time again. So with these three topics, by the end of this video, you're going to have a great idea of what to do moving forward for the next week. So while you're waiting for me to upload my next video, I want you to apply what's in this video for the entire time, okay guys? And there's a reason why I chose this video to be the first one back of my return, right? So stay tuned, guys, and all I ask is if you guys got any value from this video is to give me a like, so therefore the same way that it reached you and helped you, that it can help somebody else, guys. So that being said, before I dive right into the topic, I'm going to just catch everybody up on what I've been doing the last few months. I know some of you have been wondering, so I'm going to catch everybody up. If that does not interest you, then feel free to go forward and just fast forward ahead until you find wherever I'm talking about the video. And that being said, thanks guys. So first and foremost, thank you everyone for all the lovely words, all the kind emails, all the success stories as well, and just pretty much you guys reaching out and just showing that you care or that you're worried. So thank you. I saw all your messages. I even replied to some of you, so I truly appreciate and love every single one of you guys. And for my clients, this is specifically for you, specifically the email and voice message. If you are waiting on any email or voice message from me, send me a message ASAP. I will be, for the next, I would say at least 10 days, I will be keeping my eye on both like a hawk, and I'm going to be organizing who is left to get through. And some people slip through the cracks because I was using a tool which organizes people for me. But when people continue to email me or they forget to add something, so they send another message or whatever it may be, whatever package it was, that they get bumped to the bottom of the line, and then therefore I never see them because it never comes into my main focus, right? And I only look at who I'm doing that day and nothing else. So moving forward, I fixed that. I have much better ways to actually, even for emails now, to give more information to you guys in a much faster time. I've actually been experimenting with changing the way I organize and structure certain things. And I'm finding myself giving much greater detail in my emails in much shorter time. So some of you, you might even notice you're getting same-day responses or 24-hour responses now. So those of you that are waiting, hit me up ASAP. I will take care of you and we'll get everything sorted. And moving forward, anybody regarding email packages, you should expect messages to be responded to much more faster than normal, which is already great. So thank you guys for all the patience and all the love, and I look forward to every single one of you sharing with me all your success stories moving forward, because you guys have sent me so much. Pretty much even this week and this morning I got a couple from you guys. So I'm really excited to be back and to dive into things. And don't worry, like I said, nothing bad happened, and I know I'm all over the place. I'm kind of like getting my mind organized, and I'm already thinking of what I'm going to say next for like the actual video. But to kind of keep it short, I'm going to be buying a warehouse. I'm looking to buy a warehouse, a pretty big one, and I'm going to be making that my content home. I want to just produce contents, do lives and things like that, and really dedicate my life to just teaching you guys. And I want to put videos out for free till I die. I don't want to keep everything behind a paywall and stuff like that. And I have big plans as well that I'll kind of announce in the future when I reach certain milestones. And of course, there's going to be certain paywalls for future things that I'm going to do, but it's not going to be crazy expensive. And there's going to be cheap options, like very cheap options for certain things I have planned for those of you that can't afford to work with me. And I tell you guys all the time, you don't need coaching. It's just a luxury if you can afford it, you want to save time, and you just want advice that's tailored to you and your situation. That's all it is. But if that doesn't apply to you, just get the books. Spend time reading, right? Take notes. So that being said, thank you guys if you stayed this far and listened. And we're going to jump into the video. So I'm kind of all over the place. This is probably like the 10th time I've recorded this video alone, honestly. Like I've even gotten 8 minutes in, and then somewhere I'm just like, you know what? It doesn't feel right. And I just delete it and start over again because I just do one and done. So That being said, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the final one, so bear with me and let's dive into it. And thank you guys if you stayed so far. So, self-worth and who you are, right? A lot of people don't know who they are, but they discover the techniques that they're supposed to be doing. And in the process of doing these techniques, they find themselves happy at first and even feeling inspired even. But over time, you're going to notice a big story where people start saying, at first it was great, but now I'm feeling anxious. Now I'm doubting. Now nothing's changing. And of course, all these things are happening because we don't know who we are. And of course, therefore, we don't have faith. And that's why we can't believe that we're abundant. That's why we don't believe that we're loved. That's why we don't believe that we can be chosen and whatever else. But the truth be told, it's all, it's all irrelevant. Everything is meaningless because it's us who is the cause of everything. So when we assign that meaning and we decide that something's good or bad, it changes the tracks that we're on, right? And when you remember, like I remember when I'm in my moments of, need, or I'm maybe reacting to 3D, I instantly choose to remember, wait a second. Oh, wait, this vessel of mine, I know it as Michael. But it's not, like, I'm not Michael. That's just who I think I am. I'm actually an eternal spirit. And that eternal spirit is a piece of source, of God, whatever you want to call it, right? That thing has all the answers and all the power that source, the Almighty has, right? The King of all kings. And that thing is actually who I am inside of this face, this skin, these arms. That's who's seeing out these eyes. That's who's speaking out. That's why, when I tell certain clients, right, when I'm speaking, you're listening to God speak. And when you're listening as God. And same thing, right, vice versa. It's the same concept. We're all one, and we all come from the same source. And that, if it makes you feel better and to piece it together even better, imagine that you are the most almighty, powerful thing to ever exist and ever will exist, and the most intelligent. Do you really think that you wouldn't get bored eventually? Because I'm sure some of you have played video games and you've had cheats unlocked where you get everything handed to you, and it's probably fun for the first little bit, but after a while you realize it's not fun anymore and you kind of want the challenge. Well, this is what Earth is. Earth is a challenge. It's a training ground. It's a kindergarten for gods in training, just like you and I, right? And you and I, we're no different in the sense of what we're capable of. The only difference is that I've studied the law and I study it daily. And I apply, and I've made more mistakes than a lot of you guys have even cared to attempt to try. And because I've made the mistakes, I'm able to sit here and tell you confidently what works and what doesn't, what worked for me and what was my experience and what the books say and so on and so on. Because this has been my life for a while, right? It's why I could afford to take 4 months off vacation and just do whatever I want and disappear and come back. It's why I don't need to worry and depend on this for money or do anything else, right? Because I have everything that I need physically, right? Financially. I don't need to work. I tell people all the time, it's like, it's when you live by the law, especially on, at least on the financial topic, trust me, like, you're going to have the luxury that I do, where I get to pretty much live the way I want and invest my time in the things I want and, think of other ways that I want to conquer my own little parts of the world, business, things like that, and you name it. But that's because I know who I am. When I'm upset, I understand, wait a minute, I'm only upset because I'm identifying with Michael, with human Michael, the one that has no power, that can't change all of this. But when I start identifying with, wait a minute, God created this training ground, and it's as if, and I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, I'm just use this as an example if it helps you piece it together. Imagine God created this training ground, and then grabbed himself and just threw himself into earth. And as he threw himself into earth, he knows that as soon as he enters the atmosphere and he breaks through the barrier, that moment he forgets, boom, you're going to have to forget that you are God, that you have all the answers, that there's nothing that can hurt you, that you have everything you already want. You're going to have to forget about unlimited parallel realities, in other words, probable realities. You're going to have to forget about everything, and that's scary for a lot of people. And Seth talks about this and even goes into detail of how other entities, meaning souls or spirits like us, look at us with honor, and it's kind of like we're like the celebrities, because Earth is one of the scariest training grounds to get to kind of embody and to enter. And when you realize that this training ground is so scary because you forget, then you realize logically it makes sense to start remembering. So let's just start remembering who we are. We are a piece of God, not God the Almighty in full form, but we're a fragment of them, as Neville says, keyed low. And they threw themselves into Earth, and we had to create the vessel so that the spirit could live on Earth with this game and these rules. And therefore, this is my vessel. Hi, I'm Michael. This is the vessel, right? And inside of me is a piece of God. And that piece of God knows all the answers. Any of my problems, I bring it. If I embody the solution so frequently that it becomes natural, then my higher self understands, okay, let's manifest the solution then. And it knows exactly what needs to do, what needs to be done, and who needs to do what. And that's what you guys got to realize. It's this thing inside of you, if it helps you. And once again, like, it doesn't, I know there'll be some purists that will say, oh, that's not how it is. But it's just to help paint a picture. If this helps you to see it this way, then look at it like this. Imagine inside of you, so you're in control of your conscious brain, and you're in control of of only what you can do in that conscious mind, but you're not in full control of your subconscious. You're not in full control of other things, right? Like, you're not in full control of what your entity, your spirit can access, right? You don't have the full access right now of God's brain, right? You don't know all the answers. You don't know every single answer to every question and everything that God would know. But guess what? That thing inside you does. It has those answers. The difference is you can't tap into it, because that's part of the game. Because if you could tap into that, and you could just for like 1 second just like connect yourself to that database and then see everything, then this game wouldn't be a challenge. So that's why you can't access it, right? So knowing that you can't access it, but you can command it, that thing that's inside of you, you can command it. It's there to work with you. It's a part of you. It loves you. It's who you are. It's your biggest cheerleader. And that, if that helps, look at it like that. Like, you have a best friend cheerleader that's literally God living inside you, that's going to give you everything you want. So all this asks of you is to start changing your beliefs. That's why in scripture it says, when you pray, believe you have received it and it will be given to you. So moving forward, that's what I want you to do, is to remember you are a fragment of the Almighty, and inside of you is that cheerleader that if you embody, right? So for me, when I want something, I embody having it. I remember I have it because I remember that creation is finished, because I remember there's infinite realities and I'm existing in all of them. So I just put my mind into the one I want to experience, and I think to myself, what would it feel like if I was in that experience right now instead of my current problematic experience? And then boom, whew, like this relief just hits me. And that relief, it tells me that I embodied a new state, because I understand that relief is an emotion. And an emotion means a belief has to be there to unlock that. So therefore, I knew that I wasn't feeling that emotion before, so that must mean I changed my state. You don't have to use emotions to know that you got into a state, but I do. And because of that, I felt the relief, and I understood that, hey, now the seed is planted. And all I got to do now is remind myself throughout the day, when I'm starting to notice I'm going in bad places, of who I actually am. And that's an eternal spirit. That's a piece of God. And you are here in this training ground, and it's all for you to learn that your beliefs shape your experiences. When you fully understand and accept this, and you understand that inside of you is the database of all the answers to all your problems, and all you got to do is by feeling the solution, you're then telling higher self, hey, give me this experience because this is who I am. Once it becomes natural, think of it like this. Imagine God's watching you, and after you finally prove that you really believe who you say you are, then he rewards you. Yes, I know purists are going to say that's not how it is, but trust me, there's people that are new to the community that can't think the way that you and I do. So sometimes this helps them, and this is actually what I used to do when I was brand new, because that's what I interpreted my first ever day reading Neville. I just thought God was outside of me, but he was watching me, and that inside of me was this cheerleader, but I can't control it. And that's the stuff that helped me. Is it like the official way that's taught in all the books? No, not really. But the core concepts are, and I teach you guys the concepts, but I kind of give you little examples to kind of help you. So that's for the first part, right? The second part, I'm going to read to you from a book of it's from lectures. It's Neville stuff. Sorry, I literally just moved my camera. It's Neville stuff, but the person that kind of put it together and had it published was a student of his that had access to a lot of lectures that weren't even recorded. And in this book, there is, and if anyone wants to know the name, I don't know it off the top of my head. That's why I'm not telling you guys. I'm not trying to gatekeep it. There is one called Creative Use of Imagination, or Creative Power of Imagination. And the other one is the one that this is from. But we're going to dive into consciousness and why your awareness and where you place it is important. And this is a piece of it, right? So I'm not going to read the full page. I'm just going to read highlighted sections, okay? Consciousness is the only reality, and where you are conscious of being psychologically determines the circumstances of your life. Remember that. I'm going to read that last part again. Where you're conscious of being psychologically In here, mental diet determines the circumstances of your life. The ancients knew this great truth, but our modern teachers have yet to discover it. And that's why I tell you guys, study the greats. Don't study people who just studied other people that didn't study the greats, right? And sadly, there's a lot of people that are teaching confidently and steering people in the wrong direction because of this. And I don't think they're ill-intentioned. It's that they don't know better, and they're also speaking from their experience. And yes, what they did might have worked for them, but in general, I like to prefer to teach you guys how things work, and then you decide your own path. That's why I don't tell you guys you have to affirm to get this or say these sentences to get that. It's because I understand how the universe works. And when you understand how the universe works, then logically, which we're going to get into as the next topic, it makes no sense to do a lot of things that people are doing that some of you might even be doing. And another thing that's mentioned, it's further down in the page, but it says, Ephesians tells us that all things, when admitted, are made manifest by light. And the word light recorded here means awareness, consciousness. So, when you understand that your consciousness is what brings things to light, it's what brings things to life, and your continued consciousness is going to become your experience, then logically, that's where step 3 or part 3 comes in. Logically, does it make sense then to be in a position of, let's say, SP, for an example, we'll do SP and money. So SP, because it's the most common topic I work with people. Does it make sense to sit there and be like, oh no, they haven't reached out to me yet. They're being mean to me and they're neglecting me. And I know that me focusing on this is putting me in a bad awareness, and then emotionally I'm reacting to it, which reinforces the bad beliefs. But I'm going to keep doing it again and again. But then I'm going to hire Michael or whatever coach and be like, why is it not happening? I've been embodying this state. I've been doing techniques, but it's not changing. It's because you're focusing on not having. When you wake up, most of your day is on, I'm single, I don't have. Same thing with money, right? It's, I'm broke. How am I going to pay for this? I wish I had that. Your job is to understand you've already manifested the life that you're living. So you're going to have to walk through it for a little bit. But as you're walking through it, you don't have to sit there and mope about it and be upset about it. You can accept that you manifested what you were aware of dominantly, right? Just like people that get cheated on, they're consciously returning to the state of, I'm going to get cheated on, fear. This is not going to happen in a good way. The love I want is not going to happen, whatever it may be. And boom, it just happens. And that experience always matches how you felt. So when that experience matches how you felt in here, you start realizing, holy crap, I continued to put awareness on this for week after week after week, and then it happened. And then you realize on top of that, logically, it makes no sense to apply that and to then expect good results. So moving forward, all I want you to do, literally all I want you to do is when you start catching yourself being aware of a problem, go to a solution. Start remembering certain concepts of the law, such as who you are. So number 1, you're an eternal spirit that has all the answers and all the access to God's brain within your vessel. And the way you communicate with that thing that has all the power and access is you embody states, because that's how you communicate. Feeling is has the data that I tell people all the time. I found this out myself before I even started diving into the books full time like I do, because I remember Neville saying feeling is a secret, and I took that as emotion. I didn't know that he didn't mean emotion at the time, but I thought he meant emotion. Little did I know that it was actually kind of correct too, because emotion equals belief and belief equals reality, right? It's what shapes reality. So for me, when I thought of my first ever girlfriend that I manifested back, right? We were almost 2 weeks no contact already, and then I discovered the law. And every time I thought of her, my brain went to, I just wanted her back. And I thought of her a lot. So when I thought of her, I instantly went straight to remembering that creation was finished. And that's where logic came, because I remember, hey, wait a minute, this crazy Neville guy is saying, if I want something, I have to, in other words, when I pray, I have to believe I received it, and that feeling is a secret. So if feeling is a secret, and I have to believe that I received the thing I want, then I should focus on, what if we got back together? So then I would imagine receiving the message of us getting back together. It was in various forms. Sometimes it was just the thought of receiving the message. Sometimes it was me seeing, for some reason, I always saw a flip phone when I imagined this. I don't know why, but I saw my hand with a flip phone, and to me that implied that like we're getting back together. I don't know why. And at the time, like iPhones were a thing, you know. So it's like I don't know why I was thinking of a flip phone, and it's just like, to me, I gave the meaning. Does that make sense of everything, right? So when I saw that flip phone, that meant like we're getting back together. And when I thought of her, I remembered creation is finished, and that this thing of who's inside of me is like my biggest cheerleader. And all I got to do now is start thinking of embodying what it would feel like to have her back. So then I started embodying that feeling. So I thought, if in this moment right now we got back together and I was in that moment where I had that flip phone in my hand, how would I feel? And then boom, for me, it was just that relief, like I mentioned, right? And that relief right there told me that I was in a state. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to use emotions to know that, but that's what I did. And when I did that, that's when I understood, okay, I'm in a new state. And I just kept returning to that in fun, different ways. I went on dates with her. I held her hand. I heard her tell her she loves me. I kept returning to that awareness, and I refused to identify with my current reality. I just accepted that I manifested it through my crappy decisions. And that's why I was at peace with it, because I understood, damn, I screwed up. You know what? I accept it. I'm going to have to walk through this fire, but the fire doesn't have to burn. The fire only burns when you forget who you are. And when you forget who you are, that's when things change. For the worse, I should say. And that's why it's so important to know who you are. When you then remember, wait a minute, God came down and created this vessel, and inside this vessel, this almighty knowing being, this eternal spirit that I will wake up and have full control over once I die and leave this vessel, this thing exists inside of me. And therefore, this thing inside of me also created all other realities, and I'm existing in all those other realities that I can't see right now, not just this one. And all I gotta do, logically, is start remembering these certain concepts and start remembering that it makes zero sense to sit there and to be upset that your 3D has not changed and is not changing, and to keep focusing on the problem and to keep worrying about everything bad that's gonna happen, and to then embody a state just a little bit here and there, and then spend 6 hours in total in negativity. It makes no sense. You're gonna want to practice returning to fulfillment in fun, different ways when you crave your desire, and then in the meantime, when you're not craving it, just make sure you don't go to lack, right? Just observe the scary parts with the eyes of the new understanding of who you are now. If you know that you are looking through the eyes of, you're looking through your eyes, but it's God looking through the eyes. So now I want you to look at your reality around you, right? And when I first discovered the law, that's what I did. I was at a subway station, and I remember the first day I discovered the law, I was looking at people, and it's just people watching. And I was looking, and I was looking to my right, looking to my left, and I just was observing these people, and I thought to myself, I really am in full control if I wanted to be. And if someone, I fell in love with someone here and there, I could manifest meeting them, like seeing them again, and I wouldn't have to feel bad about like, oh, I missed my chance, right? It's like I looked at everything from the perspective of I'm in full control of this. And that's why it made it so much easier for me to return to feeling loved by her, which then got her back in a matter of days for me, because I embodied love so much that it became natural. And by the third day, it just boom, reflected, right? And we had many years of amazing, loving relationship after that. And it was such a wonderful time. And even when we broke up, it was a lovely breakup, right? We were just different parts in our lives, and she had other things she wanted to focus on, and I had to focus on my things. And we didn't want to hold each other back, and it was just friendly and amicable, and it was beautiful. And that's the thing about the law, like, you don't have to be burned by the flames, right? So to kind of piece things together, we're 23 minutes in, so thank you for everyone that watched this so far. It's about understanding who you are, and when you really know who you are first, then it makes it easier to get into a state. So when I understand that I'm an eternal spirit and everything exists within me and I don't have to worry about a damn thing, then I understand, wait a second, it makes no sense for me to sit here and be worried about my 3D circumstances. And then you're also going to start catching yourself focusing on the problem, right? The negative circumstance a lot, right? Especially if you've had bad mental diet for many months or weeks. So moving forward, what I want you to do is to understand, every time you catch your awareness, I want you to look at it from the perspective of, this is God looking at this problem. So if I know I'm God, and I know that I have this power where I can solve all these problems, and nothing can stop me other than myself, and that there's nothing I can bring to higher self that can't solve, then all that's left for me to do is to embody the solution. So then you're going to start logically seeing that it's so stupid, right, for lack of a better word, to then go back to the problem. Because as Neville says, your awareness is the sap that gives life to that tree. So stop giving life to it, guys. I'm telling you, take your awareness off the problem. I know it seems unorthodox or like weird to kind of bury your head and just hide. But trust me, it's not hiding. You're letting something die so that the good can flourish. So if you want money, then start consistently from when you wake up to when you go to bed. Remember who you are when you start catching yourself focusing on the negative. And then when you remind yourself who you are, that you're an eternal spirit, that inside of you exist all the universes and everything revolves around you, that your entire world is your reflection based off your beliefs. When you fully intake all this and many more things, which I'll mention in future videos, and you know these little reminders, then you realize, okay, now I can see why it makes sense that when I say that I'm wealthy, that I actually am, because there's realities where I am wealthy. And if I start feeling that way, it's only a matter of time before my higher self guides me and compels me to take the steps to meet the people or go places that are going to bring me that wealth that I've been looking for. And that's exactly what I want you guys to understand and to do, because I want that for all of you guys. I want you guys to have the same luxury that I have. I'm able to go on wherever I want, book a flight anytime I want, take as much time as I want away from anything. And, it's like I get to live my life, and it's such a luxury. And someone was even talking to me about something the other day about certain luxuries that I didn't realize that I have now, that I took for granted back when I was working or in school and things like that. And it's such a blessing, trust me, to be in a position where you are comfortable and you can decide to chase your passion instead of to chase things that you have to do in order to survive. So just keep that in mind, guys, okay? So thank you, every single one of you who made it this far. And I just want to say, if you made it this far and you've gotten value from it, once again, if you haven't already, hit that like button. And I love you all very, very much. There's going to be lots of content coming in the very near future. I'm going to be aiming to do 1 video per week minimum. And down the road, I'll be doing a membership, most likely. I don't know if it'll be YouTube or private website. Probably YouTube, because I'm lazy and I don't feel like going through the whole process of doing a website just yet, a separate one. And I don't mind losing 30% cut to YouTube because they're hosting everything. So I'll probably figure that out later down the road. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. And I forgot if I mentioned this because I've recorded this video so many times. But in case you guys see bruises, marks, cuts on my lip, anything, even black eyes, whatever, in the coming videos, please do not be alarmed. I am someone who has competed in combat sports since I was a late teenager, I would say, or mid-teens. And I took a break during the pandemic times because of course my gym was closed and shut down for like years. Like we had some of the longest mandates here. Anyways, that being said, that was the reason why I kind of stopped, right? We couldn't go back, and then I just got busy when everything reopened, and I never went back, right? But that being said, I'm back at the gym, and I'm going to be sparring and training again and things like that. So do not be alarmed, guys. It is not something to be worried about. It's not, I don't want you guys to feel bad. It doesn't hurt. It might look painful. So in the future, if you see any marks on my faces, please do not be alarmed. It's just, I enjoy combat sports. I'm sparring. I'm training with other professional fighters and things like that. So that being said, I love you all very much, and thank you for being here. And I am so excited for the next video already. So I hope you guys like this new lens, by the way. The background, everything's changing. So just stay tuned, guys. Trust me, we're all going to make it.